Trigiani. Trigiani. This is the first time I've read any of her novels. She has a lot. She's a New Yorker. She's in her 50s, so quite younger than me by about 20 years. And, well, she's a transplant New Yorker, as I am. She's from, I think, Virginia or somewhere in the hills in Appalachia, and an Italian. And this is very much an Italian story. It's set in a town called Viareggio in Italy, which is sort of an eastern Italy, right on the sea there. And it's a historic novel that takes place basically from the 30s into now. It's really a look back at a family, really from a woman's point of view. This is I would say this is very much a woman's novel, a family novel. It is a very much about these kind of things, and a historical novel, because it well, the antagonists in the novel are really these massive forces that sweep up into families, into individual lives. This disruptive stuff of war, in this case World War II, and actually the destructive force of the church, in a sense, because that enters into the story too, and displaces one of the characters for a number of years as she disobeys the edicts of the Catholic Church, because they're Catholics, they're Italians. And it has to do with a woman named Dementia, and the life of Dementia from her childhood. We meet her parents, and how in the beginning she's the opening scene is her at age like 10, 12, with a buddy of hers called Salvio and Silvio. And Silvio and she has Silvio steal a map from the local library, and they have this map, and they're running with the map, and they're being chased by the librarian and some toughs in the neighborhood, because she wanted the map because she wanted to go find the treasure. The map is about a treasure that pirates buried up off the shore there somewhere, in the a century before, or 60 years before, whatever, along the timeline of when she's talking here. So it takes Dementia through her early life and her apprenticeship with the doctor, the town doctor. She has a talent for, well, it comes out of this opening scene where Silvio is hit with a rock by the kids that are chasing them, and he hurts his head quite seriously, bleeding, opened wound, and she takes him to the local doctor, and he gets sewn up, and she's very interested in this process, and said, well, I can sew too, you want me to sew it? And he's, no, but she does assist. So time goes on, and she becomes a nurse, and with that doctor, and that's what occurs with her displacement, because she does something that is against the rules of the church along the lines of her work. And it's all told from the point of view of Matilda. Matilda is her daughter. And in the now part of the book, Matilda is elderly. She's in her 80s, and she's approaching death herself. So she's looking back and telling stories from back then to her granddaughter. So we get all the story of her mother, Domencia. And Domencia's life takes her to out of this area, out of Italy, and actually then away from whatever happens with World War II, with Italy, with the black shirts. We hear a lot about the horror of the black shirts and what they're doing. And that part, I don't know that much about the Italian experience during the war, what that meant to the average Italian person. Of course, we know that Mussolini did join the Axis with in alignment with Hitler, but most of the focus is, of course, on Hitler and the horror that Hitler perpetrated with the concentration camps, killing all those people, Jewish people, gay people, gypsies, communists, and that takes the focus out of what exactly went on in Italy, because in this novel, a lot of the Italians are, we don't really meet any Italians who are pro-fascist. They are just local people trying to get on with their lives and actually have to do things to flee the fascists, like go up into the mountains for a while and live up there, and to get out of the way of everything that's the chaos that's going on with Mussolini and the fascists and the black shirts. So I have to look into that a little bit more, and it did spike my interest in finding out a little bit more about what was going on in Italy during that time, because, as I said, I don't really know. Anybody has any information they want to put into the comments, any videos they can recommend, I'd appreciate it. So Domencia has a problem with the church, and is basically put in exile from her village, and she is sent to live in Marseille, France, and there she is going to work with a bunch of nuns who are nurses in this Catholic hospital there in Marseille. And so she goes there and she works there and she does well. She's appreciated and so forth. And then from there she gets transported and transferred to Scotland, to a little town in Scotland near Glasgow. I don't remember the name of the town right now, but I was going to look up pictures of the town to show behind me, so maybe I'll get that together by the time I post this. So there she meets in Marseille she meets a Scottish man, and this is the really kind of romantic part, the romantic horror, as I say, historical romantic novel. While I was reading this part, I was thinking, oh wow, I'd been thinking about reading a romance novel, just because I've never read one. Maybe even one of those those pop quickies, you know, Harlequin romance or something. This is more of a literary novel that has, you know, very much romance involved with it. And so that's a very romantic section of them trying to get together and the hit or miss of getting together. And I guess I won't really go into more of the story other than that, because then you can, you know, it can unfold to you. I liked the novel. I thought it was good. I had my doubts about it at some points. Is this just a romance novel? I don't know. But then, you know, then the war cooked up, and there's a little more darkness in there, the reality of darkness. And as I went through it, I noticed some things about this novel. It is very family, pro-family. It is all about families and staying together. I mean, if it has something it's trying to leave us with, it is the sanctity of the family and the necessity of the family to stay together, and the richness of a life with family. Of course, this is a family in Italy, very, very, they are all Italian, so we're not into the intermix thing that's going on in America, in my life, perhaps yours, where things changed a lot with families and how families are connected and how families can stay connected. This is really a family that is, you know, connected through religion, through the church, and through just being in this village together and actually keeping the villa. Like Domicia comes back and lives in the same villa that her parents lived in. Has several floors, so some family can live on this floor and some family can live on another floor. So this is really the extended family and a celebration of the extended family and the richness of the extended family. And, you know, it has these supporting structures, the cultural religious one of the church and all of their Italian heritage, and that they have this property that can keep them and hold them, and this, you know, this little town that they all live in and come back to. Some of them drift off later, but and there's a younger daughter. Anita, and Anna, what is her name? There's a young daughter who is the granddaughter of. There's a lot of family connections. A little bit, I got a little lost in it sometimes, but it's all, you know, very clear. Matilda. So yeah, it's the daughter of Matilda, and so Matilda is telling her story to her daughter through most of it, and so we hear, you know, all about this family and what happened during the war, and what happened, how some people were lost during the war, some people who were displaced during the war. There's a little side about an Italian Jewish family that part of them survives due to the craft that this one guy has. Romeo has as a stonecutter, and he's put to work in a factory making metals for the Nazi soldiers during the war up in Berlin. So he escapes going to concentration camps because he is useful to the Third Reich. I had a it, it the I this is a personal blog about books, so I indulge in telling my own feelings, my own emotions that come up when I'm reading a book like this. And with this one, I thought about myself and about my own relationship to family, and how it very much unlike this. I mean, I'm very much an American and from a mixed family, and at one point the one of the characters says, one thing that people always remember is their mothers, taken as a completely valid and something that is undoubted, and I don't remember my mother. Oddly enough, I have very dim memories of my mother. Of course, she died almost 50 years ago at age 45, so there's that. But and I didn't really get to know her because I was rather young when she died. It has not quite been 50 years ago. I had just turned 26 when she died, and but my family, and she was very young when I was born, and I was, I've always wondered if she might have wanted to have something else, maybe a girl child, if she was going to have a child, and why she got pregnant at 19, if it was she a little sort of coerced into having sex by my father, and I don't know really what went on with them, although I know that their early life and my very early life was my grandmother has talked about some violence that went on, and some rough times, and I remember some of those rough times, hearing them fight and seeing some damage in the home that went on with that. My dad did not beat my mother, but he did beat up on the house rather seriously one time. That was scary. So consequently, and we didn't, we weren't Catholic. We didn't have these connections to a church like that. My father's mother was full-blooded Serbian, and my father's dad, the Carters, were from Olive Hill, Kentucky, basically, hillbillies. So they all found themselves up at Ohio to work in the steel mills and so forth. So yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to. I guess I want to say now that I have regrets about how it all went on. I mean, I guess I did as best as I could. I had a teacher once that said, you all do the best you can, and because it would be illogical otherwise. And I think that's true with me. I think however I was trained, however I was raised up, and my experience of family, my feelings about family now, have were based on the nurturing that I had, or the lack of nurturing that I had. As I said, I don't feel much warmth toward my mother, and we were kind of battling a lot when I was a child. She wanted me to do better in school, and I was not really a school kind of kid, and I probably could have gotten channeled into something else if they were more sophisticated in that way, or whatever. But as it was, it didn't work out so well. So And then from then, you know, I didn't have a family myself, and you know, another thing that went on with the neighborhood boys that was very upsetting to me and was found out by my family, and you know, a sort of sexual thing. And you know, I was around 10 and they were older, and you know, all this stuff went on to create a great deal of sexual shame and so forth in me that you know, kind of lives on to this day. What, you know, 50 years, 50 plus years later. So, but, you know, I kind of feel like I want to apologize to the women in my life who I've met many, a few, I've had a few relationships through the past 50 years with some just lovely women, starting out with anyway, all that's over now as I'm, you know, kind of wrapping up my life. As this book is about people wrapping up their life and looking back over it. So I recommend the novel. I like the novel. It's very romantic, as I said, and you know, you do learn some stuff about World War II, and you know, a lot about this family, this village, and what went on in Italy in a certain sense. And so, thank you for watching.